I've never been to Coachella, but man, did I want to go when I saw the Chappell Roan snippets all over YouTube and TikTok and the rest of it. The outfits, the vocals, the energy. It's just so nice to not only witness a new powerful voice in pop music, but also to see someone who's been working for so long finally get their flowers. I worked so hard to get these in frame. These flowers were generously given to me for my birthday by a friend. They will wither away soon, I'm sure, but for now they give me the mirage of someone who goes to the farmer's market and does that. But anyway, yes, flowers, Chappell Roan. She deserves all of them, and we're just all so excited, and we need a space to talk about this incredible artist. Hi, I'm Kate. I'm an artist, and this is my series called Kattle Considerations, where I talk about art, culture, and the internet, and generally just anything I love. And boy, do I love Miss Chappell Roan. Even though the general public is just becoming conscious to all of her glory, we always forget as artists and just as consumers that she has been creating for so long. I didn't actually know until I looked back in her discography, but I had Good Hurt, which I believe came out in 2017. I think I learned about it through a Discover Weekly playlist at that time, but I had no idea this was the same person. And you can go back and look at that original project and see the contrast and see the growth. It's really, really inspiring. Chappell Roan has been singing and playing piano and just being a musical person for very long. You can still find the clip of her performing a Christmas song at 12 or 13 on YouTube, which is very sweet and beautiful. I believe in one of her interviews, she said that she originally wanted to be an actor, and music was thought of maybe as the springboard for that, and then it just ended up being her main job. But I think a lot of that carries through in her work. It's definitely very theatrical and whimsical and vibrant, and so I think of some of that spirit very much carries over. She has said that the song Stay by Rihanna was originally the song that made her want to make music of her own. She started posting covers on YouTube, which eventually led her going to a showcase, which led her to becoming signed under in her words, not a very great record deal with Atlantic as a minor. And I believe it was her song Die Young which got her signed. It is so amazing to me how many YouTube cover people have just blossomed into megastars. I think that's incredible. And as I'll touch on more later, I feel like Chappell Roan is really paving the way for new methods of curation, listening, and enjoying music, and just engaging with the culture with the sense of community that she's built through TikTok specifically. While she was signed to Atlantic, she put out an EP called School Nights. She opened for the likes of Vance Joy, Declan McKenna. But I think it's also important to remember that at this time, she was still 17. She had to sacrifice going to prom, among other things, like quintessential child stuff. And also just being someone who's from a random town in Missouri, there's not a lot of people who can relate to being signed to a major record label. Her real breakthrough was with Pink Pony Club, which notably, this song is 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Maybe at one time that wasn't considered particularly long, but unfortunately, I feel like songs over 3 minutes are kind of a dying breed. And so it's nice when an artist can be so captivating that the listener has the patience to receive it. And it's also very interesting because although the song on the outside looks so successful, I mean, the song had been streamed more than 10 million times on Spotify by August 2022. It still was not profitable for Atlantic Records, which, I mean, if that doesn't tell you anything about the music industry, it should. But even before all of the success that Chappell created from this affirming song, the label really didn't want to put out this track. It just goes to show you, like, there's always going to be people who think that they know better than you about your art. Maybe they've been around the block a couple of times, but if you believe in something and it's honest and true to you, I don't see why you shouldn't put something out. And I think it's strange that labels take to trying to gatekeep expression. But anyway, it's also worth noting that this joyous, like, communal song was released in 2020. So, pandemic was happening. But she gets dropped from the label. She's in LA at this point, which she moved to with not knowing anyone at 18. I can relate to this experience because I did the same thing moving to New York, and it is really hard. It sounds so silly, but so many events are catered, I guess, around drinking, or at least being in like age restricted areas like bars. So even if you put yourself out there to make friends, it can be really hard to make friends because you can't get into places. And many people your age are in college, so it can be like a very isolating experience. And, you know, she touches on this in songs like California, I feel are very special to people like myself. And then the next 2 years since being dropped, she worked as a production assistant, a barista, a nanny, just finding any odd jobs to support herself, which, man, is that not relatable? Because I am the production assistant among so many other things. I've written articles about dogs. One of my first jobs here is I wrote for a wedding website despite being like 18 and single. I've sold potatoes, but you know, that's okay. This isn't about me. But the stories I could tell, I will have to talk about all the random jobs I've done sometime. But yes, all this chaos, understandably, leads Chappell to move back to Missouri, move back in with her parents. Very humbling experience, I'm sure. Actually, my greatest nightmare that will not stop ringing. My family is lovely. You know, it's like an ego thing. I feel like I work so hard to just be able to get here, to have that stripped away from my identity. I feel like I would just be a sadder musical noodle. It would be sad. But yeah, I mean, she has to do what she has to do. She's working at a drive-thru. She's taking a step back. She's in Missouri. Her and producer Dan, who famously produces all of the Olivia Rodrigo records, I believe he also works with Conan Gray, tells her she's still got to keep pushing while she's independent. Not to say that he is responsible for her success. I mean, he certainly contributes to that world for sure. But yes, the point is she's independent now. She's kind of at a crossroads. She moves back to LA and tells herself, okay, I got 1 year. Got 1 year to do this. And starts a publishing deal with Sony. And then Naked in Manhattan happens as her first release as an independent artist. This goes massive. It goes viral. Much thanks to Chappell Roan. Clocking and clocking out on the TikTok, because let me tell you, that is not easy, and you got to do it, but it's not easy. And I don't feel like anyone I know is like, I love doing that, but you got to do it. And she did it, and wow. Great song. While she is an independent artist, she gets these opportunities to open for Fletcher, to open for Olivia Rodrigo. Incredible. And you can see there's so much heart behind this project. Her first time headlining, doing the tour thing, she's coming up with show themes. She's inviting local drag queens to perform, giving voice to queer people, especially outside of like these metropolitan hubs where queerness is more openly expressed. There's this DIY spirit, right? With creating her own costumes, thrifting, crafting, all of these wonderful things that add to the world of Chappell Roan but aren't necessarily a part of the music. She directed her own music video for I can't say it. Phenomenon. It's a phenomenon. I can't say it, but you know what I'm saying. I'm getting ahead of myself. We finally get this glorious debut album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. It's an incredible pop album. Maybe some people wouldn't agree with me on genre, but this is coming from a person who loves pop music. Like, it's interesting pop music that is certainly referential, but it does an amazing job of taking those references and paying homage to them while still adding the special Chappell Roan spice to the mix. I love Red Wine Supernova. I love Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl. My kink is Karma. Casual. Wow, that's a knife in the heart. Guilty pleasure. Okay. I was just talking about this on TikTok, but the cranberry, like modern cranberries vibe, so cool. And then now we just got the release of the single Good Luck Babe, which is supposedly opening the door to the next chapter of Chappell Roan. And we are so excited. Stuck in my head all the time. What a chill, beautiful, Kate Bushy, groovy 80s time. I cannot wait to learn more about the Chappell Roan universe and to see her evolve, because this is just the beginning. While she has a publishing deal now and a team now, because she needs the infrastructure to support the level that she's on, I feel like Chappell Roan really encapsulates the independent spirit of persistence and resilience and trusting your gut against the betterment of logic. Chappell Roan often describes her universe as a bit tacky, a bit gaudish, or gaudish. I should look up how you pronounce that word. Gaudy. You say gaudy, so I would guess gaudish, but it's childlike and bright and silly and fun and raunchy, and it's subversive, and that's why it's so great. It feels so amazing to see an artist go from these more like introspective ballad things with her first EP and then go into these. There's still threads of that for sure in The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, but there's also so many bangers. And as someone who writes their own music, produces their own music, it's so hard to do fun well. And it's so hard to do silly and sassy well. And Chappell Roan just unlocks that childhood magic in so many of us. And it's so great it almost feels like she was picked by the people, this lore of getting dropped and having to move home, such a hero's journey. And then TikTok just being like, you are going to be massive. And her having the training, the slow burn, the 5+ years of work behind her belt to back that up is so beautiful and satisfying to see. It's so hopeful. There aren't enough interviews of Chappell Roan, in my opinion, but I do appreciate her candor in the ones that are there. In her interview with Tom Power, she says that the music industry is somewhere you can really flourish if you don't protect yourself. I appreciate such a honest look at the struggles and sacrifices that come with this line of work. She talks about the need to find a life outside of just music, because music and anything in the entertainment business really can be so fickle, and she needs to protect herself and the version of herself in 2 decades. And wow, it's nice to see someone in her position be so honest and open about that sort of thing, because I'm sure you're just encouraged to play into the veneer as much as possible. She also talks about being an introvert, about struggling with not being neurotypical, not going out a lot when she's on tour and really needing to carve out space for herself to have quiet and to recharge. She's paving the way for a new line of dialogue amongst artists and creators, especially in the dreamland that is pop music. You know, she needs to create space and have quiet and step away. I very much can resonate with that. And yet she has such a rich, inner, vibrant world that she chooses to share with us through her art. And the two don't have to be exclusive. But yeah, I cannot wait to see what happens next. I love it when people keep going and we get art as great as this, and it feels like just the beginning. So yeah, I would love to hear what your favorite song is in Chappell Roan's discography. Other than that, I will see you later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.